Hello and welcome to Stress Less with me, Jess. Today, my special guest is Janet Taylor. Hello, how are you?
I am doing wonderful, Jess. I'm so excited to be here with you today.
I'm excited to have you on here. All right. Did I say Janet? It's Jeanette. I'm so sorry. We just
Janet, Jeanette, Janet, Jeanette. It
we
goes back and forth. I'm fine.
just went through this. Jeanette. Oh my goodness. I apologize for butchering that. But let's talk about you. You are super amazing
Thank
because you've been helping assisting clients in creating a space that attracts more abundance, love, and happiness in their life for almost 30 years. You're also a speaker and a host of Got Cluttered, which I was also a guest on, which was so much fun. You get organized and help listeners get through their journey of living an organized life. So if you did not understand that, she gets you organized, 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 right? That
you.
is your
Yes.
goal and all the goodies that bring with that. So tell us the story. How did you even get into what you're doing now?
So I was working for a job I really loved. I was providing transportation. I was customer service in a company that provided transportation to senior citizens. And that company lost a contract. So therefore I was laid off. But in the interim, I saw an article about a woman who was going into other people's, offices and companies, telling them how to be more organized. And that's what people were saying about me. So after talking with my mom, because I was still living with her, but I had already like started packing stuff to move out, she was okay with me staying. And I just, started doing research, found out there was a local chapter of organizers, a national chapter of organizers, and just started part-time. And then a year after that, I started doing it full-time.
Wow. What a transition. Isn't it so funny how it's not, oh, I've always wanted to organize all my life. And yeah, it's always different stories.
No, it wasn't. I mean, I went to college. My degree is in fashion merchandising, which is kind of like the planning, but still, I was going to be a buyer in New York. That was my dream. But then that dream kind of faded after I realized I was working hard during holidays, lifting a lot of stuff. So that's when I transitioned into the customer service arena.
Yeah. So funny. So cool. All right. So quit your job. You're now where you're at now, organizing. Tell us what it's like to work with you. I call you, I'm like, oh my God, my life is chaotic. Girl, give me the deets. What is it like to work with you? How's it work?
I believe it's fun because my clients, they look forward to our sessions. Even though in the beginning, depending on what we have to work on, sometimes they're like a little, oh, they're frustrated, they're, uncomfortable. And usually, of course, a lot of times, depending on what it is, they're really stressed at the beginning. But at the end, when we work through things, we create systems and also just some routines and some habits, they feel so much better. It's like they can just breathe again.
Yes. And I think, and I feel like you agree, that's a lot of what organization is about, is those systems, routines, habits. But correct me if you tell me if you agree with this too. Everybody's a little different. There's a strong foundation that you kind of go by, but what works for you and what works for me are going to be different. And that's okay.
And you're right. You're right. Because I tell people, interesting that a lot of times when I go to the homes for the first time, people almost like clean up. And I'm like, no, I don't want you to clean up. I want to see how things are because I want to create a system on how you live, how you function. If you take your shoes off by the door, then hey, let's set up a system with some shoe racks by the door. Somebody comes home and they like to put their keys, coats, pocketbooks, book bags by the door or the entryway. Let's create something for that. So you're right. Everybody's system is going to be different because you really have to use not only a system where you can find things the first time you look, but also a system that's easy for you to maintain.
Yes, easy. It works for you. And I think sometimes, and tell me what your thought on this is, I think sometimes when I'm working with my clients with habits and stuff, they kind of get in their mindset of, oh, well, that makes me lazy. And no, that's what works for you. You're not being lazy if you pack the night before or whatever. That's what works for you. If that's when you're awake, that's great. You're not a morning person. There's nothing wrong with that.
And you're right, Jess, because a lot of times I tell people in regards, sometimes people just they still get overwhelmed with mail. I said a lot of times it's just getting a box, a cute basket, a bin, putting it by entryway, putting the mail in there, and once a week just going and collecting it instead of having all those piles around the house, in the car, in your tote bag, etc. So you're right, simple, easy to maintain, and just to kind of help you feel like you've got some order in your space and in your life.
As you're going through that, I can imagine some of my listeners going, is she in my house? Does she know where I keep my mail?
And you're right. A lot of times when I post things, like last week, I posted something about just the books on our night tables. If you're not reading the books and you've done with them, and maybe you're not going to read them again, why not? We have like these little libraries in our communities or other organizations. And then somebody said, "Are you in my house again?" I says, "No."
No, I'm normalizing this. And I think social media has made a lot of us stressed in so many ways, and we don't have time for that. But also when it comes to having a clean house, we're sitting here, we're going to take that picture. I'm in my office working on a new program. We go shh and move all of our stuff over and goes, we organize in a clean, organized desk. No, honey, I have 3 notebooks right here. Like you're in a house that you're living, and there's nothing wrong with that.
And you're right, because someone came to visit me one time and they were shocked because they found a cup in my sink. I was like, well, I had tea. I wasn't going to like go through all of this, work and energy just for one cup. It's going to sit in the sink and it's okay. And I'm okay with that.
It's okay. I love that. No, I think really what you're speaking to people is telling them that they're okay, meeting where they're at, and working with what works for them. Can you give like a general ideas? What am like? I know I'm coming to you for organization. How am I calling you saying I can't organize my shoes? I'm calling you because I can't organize my mail. How does that work? What are we calling in that sense of organizing? What kind of organization are you providing?
Usually when people call me, they are overwhelmed and they're stressed. And they just like, I don't even know where to start, what to do, and I need help. And
Yeah.
usually from there, I have a conversation to find out, what are those stress points, but also, what are those areas? And then from there, it's just, working with them. And I like working with people side by side because that really empowers them to get rid of stuff, but also let them realize, why am I holding on to this? And it kind of gives them that inspiration, that motivation they need as they move on, even after I'm gone. Maybe they'll get a piece of mail and they'll be like, I don't need this anymore. So usually it's a stress point. They're feeling overwhelmed and they just want somebody just to really help them. And a lot of times really take their hand and just walk them through so they don't feel overwhelmed, but also alone in the process.
I like that question that you asked because I try to go through my office as much as I can and go through things going, okay, why do I need this? Am I going to need this again? What are the probability of me actually needing this again? So I love that because it's creating that habit of question. Like you said, as much as you would love to hold their hand forever, you're going to have to move on eventually. So implanting those questions that makes sense to them, I think is really important. I really appreciate that. So for my listeners, what is the best way for them to connect with you? They're saying, oh my goodness, she said everything. I have the books, I have the shoes, I have the mail. I feel overwhelmed and stressed. What is the best way for them to connect with you?
They can connect with me via my website, which is janetmtaylor.com. Again, that's janetmtaylor.com. Or they can just reach to me either on Instagram at Janet the Organizer. That might be easier for them as well.
I love it. But before I let you go, I got 2 more sessions for you. The first one, it would be talking about how you personally handle stress. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
What's one way your business brings you stress?
I think one way my business brings me stress is sometimes when people are so stressed and they bring that energy to me and I have to kind of calm myself down. It's like, okay, it's going to be all right. Sometimes even when I show up, they're like, Janet, this, that, and the other. I'm like, let's calm down. Let's sit, let's breathe, and let's go through all of this mail because it's not that bad.
I like that. We do pick up on other people's energy. So that's a good one to talk about. How do you feel you manage the stress with the work and your day-to-day life?
I feel like I've incorporated kind of routines for myself. Like in the morning, I just kind of spend some time, quiet time, usually listening to a really nice song, listening to something inspirational. But then I found, recently at the end of my day, when I'm done and I'm like fixing dinner and everything, I put on my favorite music and I just kind of dance, from the kitchen to the dining room. And that just kind of just really kind of puts me in a great mood. And also, just it gives me a little bit more energy at the end of the day. I'm not as tired. I'm more alert and I feel like, okay, maybe I can go for a walk. Maybe I want to call somebody or something. So, or read a book.
I like that so much because we get really hyper focused on morning routines, but we forget we have a midday, we have a nighttime, we have the one in between. There's so many times we have to be checking in with ourselves, but we go, okay, I have my 30-minute morning routine, and we forget that we have to do more throughout the day. So I love that you do that. What do you want to work on when it comes to managing your stress?
I think for me, it's probably longer periods of stress. I know how to do the short ones, like I know
Oh,
how to do every day. And even on the weekend, and I'll do my no do nothing day. But I need to really work on incorporating maybe sometimes like whether it's a 3-day weekend or whether it's a week, those I need to work on those. That's my thing.
yes. I think a lot of us can relate to that. Maybe we're better at, you said, maybe I can check in with myself every single day, but those longer stressors that are in our life a little bit longer, whether it's a family issue or whatever the case may be, they can last a lot longer and it's harder to kind of shake those off. So I think that's a really relatable one. What's one way you practice self-care?
Oh my goodness, I just mentioned it, my do nothing
I
days.
heard
I
it. I
make
heard
sure
it.
I do nothing. And I mean, I'm conscious about it just because on Saturdays, I'll do my meal prep for the week. I'll do whatever I have to do. So then when I wake up on a Sunday, I mean, I really don't have to do anything. I mean, of course, I take a nice hot bath. I'll fix my favorite breakfast. I'll take a nice long walk. But I love my do nothing days because I'm finding that, especially with what we do, it really kind of just recharges us. But also, a lot of times it taps in those creative spaces because I'm just like, just being.
Yes, yes. I love it. I just was speaking to a friend who does the same thing. They meal prep on Fridays. So then on Sunday they can have to relax because I relax Friday nights and then Sunday I do a lot of the meal prep. She goes, no, having Sundays is the best. So now that I'm hearing it again, maybe it's a sign. Maybe it's Sunday.
Because it's like a jump start to your week because we have to jump, Monday morning, we're back in that routine, a lot of us. But that Sunday, it's like, oh, you can just go whether you want to, go to a beach or go to a park and
Yes,
just chill.
I love it. Oh, you're speaking to me. Last stress question. What would a relaxed you tell a stressed out you?
That whatever it is you're stressed about, it's not that serious. And you have to put yourself at the top of the list because if you don't, then that stress is going to cause you to be a lot sicker and a lot worse than you are feeling right now. So pause, breathe,
Yes.
stretch, walk,
I love this one.
dance.
Yeah. I love this question so much because I think about this, and I don't know if you do this, but I do this when I'm feeling myself getting that overwhelmed, feeling stressed and all that kind of stuff. I go, okay, what would I tell my client right now? Just having that self check in really quick. So that's a good one. All right. Now let's get into the lightning round.
Okay.
This one's really fun. Okay. First question that comes up. First thing that comes up. Who's the person that you text the most?
That would be my best friend of 40 something years. Yeah, we met in eighth grade. So I'm in my 50s. So, your
Oh
listeners
my.
can do the math. But yes. Yes. And ironically, the second person is her daughter, who is my goddaughter.
Oh,
Yeah.
you speak to my
Yes.
heart so much.
Yeah.
What emoji when you're texting do you use the most?
Um, Probably the little one with the hearts, the 3 hearts.
Yeah.
I use that one a lot. Yes.
And being an organizer, have you started your spring cleaning yet, or do you have a spring cleaning routine?
Well, I mean, yes, I have started my spring cleaning, but I like to clean whenever I feel that urge. Whenever all of a sudden I'll feel like, okay, you know what, you got to tackle your office or you got to tackle your closet. So for me, it could be, throughout the year. And
Yeah.
I always do an end of the year purge. I have to. I have to see what I need to let go of in a year before I go into a new year. And that means going into my phone. Because I
Mm.
have a friend, she always calls. She's like, okay, Jenny, am I still on the phone? I said, yes. Like, yes, yes, you're still in there. She said, because I know you go through the phone book, the phone, everything. But sometimes we need to realize that certain parts of our lives it's time to let go. Like for example, just I finally got rid of the goblet from my prom, as well as the glass I got from my class reunion. They were doing nothing but collecting dust. I'm thinking I never drank out, especially the goblet from my prom. I never drank out, just like sat there on the shelf. And I'm like, you know what? I'm beyond it. And I got rid of my report cards because that was something my mother wanted to keep. And I'm like, at this point, Jess, if somebody wants to know what I did in the third grade, shame on them. It's like, I just want to lighten my load.
But it's so funny because, again, you point out how relatable you are. So many of us do this. So many of us keep these things that we don't need anymore. And it kind of goes back to that one question you had in the beginning of, oh, shoot, I'm gonna butcher it. But what am I going to do with this? Why do I still need this? Does this still hold anything for me? My third grade report card? No, no. Oh my goodness. All right. Speaking of childhood, what was your favorite childhood candy?
M&Ms.
Ooh, regular M&Ms?
Yeah, regular, but then as I got older, I like the ones, with the nuts, but definitely the regular M&Ms. Those are my favorite.
Love that. And speaking of organization, all that kind of fun stuff, favorite gift that you've got that you keep around still?
Oh, wow. Okay, so well, it's kind of a gift. So years ago, my best friend got me a gift and a red basket because she knows, of course, red's my favorite color.
I
I
could tell.
still have that basket, and actually, I use it now. It's in my kitchen drawer, and I have my measuring cups in there. So that was a gift. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Yeah, that gift. I mean, I've gotten so many gifts. We just stopped giving each other gifts. I mean,
Yeah.
40
Well, I mean, it sounds like a long relationship, so I think so.
Yeah, but yeah, that was that. I mean, I still have that and I still use it.
I love it. I love it. Can you tell the listeners one thing you want them to take away from today's episode?
I think that really kind of begin to just look at your relationship with your stuff. If it's causing you stress, if you're overwhelmed in your space, then really look at, maybe is it time for me to let go of some of these things?
Yeah.
And a lot of times, recently I was, my godson moved, I was excited, but then I started looking through my stuff, Jess, and I had two sets of measuring cups. One I used because, like most of us, you put the ingredients in, you rinse it out, you use it for the next ingredient. And the other set I didn't use. And I'm thinking, it's brand new. So I just let it go. So sometimes really looking at all the stuff and, are we cooking like we used to? Are we wearing the clothes like we used to? Do we make, do we want all the decorations that we used to do? Are we doing all the dinners that we used to? Really begin to look at your life, not only where it is, but also where you would like it to be. And then just begin to slowly get rid of stuff.
I love that. Thank you so much for coming on here. I'm so grateful for all the information that you provided us.
Oh, it was my pleasure. I had such a great time, and I can't believe it's over already.
Just like that. Thank you.